It's Deprogram, the podcast where we try to get you into a band. That's correct. We have done all the work for you. All you have to do is push play. And sometimes we even edit. I'll say this. I actually did edit a program recently because we're doing Lemonheads today. And John, you were on the Caspar Baby Pants show, and I had to edit it.
Yeah, you did. Some people that needed to be a G-rated episode, and there was definitely some R-rated conversation that took place.
Yeah,
I'm glad you did that.
We dropped a couple F-bombs and such, and so I went and snipped those. But so this is drastically different from that, and even I'd say towards the end of the discography, a little drastically different from what you would normally jump into. So walk me through it. You put Lemonheads on the board. What is it about them?
Yeah, Lemonheads are an interesting band because they're one of these, like they have in history as one of these 80s kind of punk underground bands that like couldn't escape their outside influences, and they were always like destined to outgrow that and become this other thing. And it took them a while. Like they had to go through some lineup changes and some switching around of instruments and things like that, but they kind of turned that into being like almost one of the biggest bands in the world for a little while. Like I remember seeing them, there's a performance, they were on like Regis and Kathy Lee and stuff. Like just one of like you think of like alternative music peaking in like 1993, 1994, 1995. Like the Lemonheads were at the forefront of that for a little while. And like people talk about Evan Dando being kind of this heartthrob and like the good looks and everything, but the songwriting is there too. And like they kind of got famous due to a cover song, which happens to a lot of bands, but then they kind of parlayed that into a career which continues to this day.
So Gavin, this being your second time around the Lemonheads, walk me through it. What is it about the Lemonheads for you?
Yeah, I like what John said. I think that they were a misunderstood band, and I misunderstood them at first. I think that the people need to know that they're more than just some like pretty face. And Dando was kind of a 90s alt pinup boy, and I don't think people understand the complexities of this band, and they're really interesting and have a whole bunch of facets to them. And so I was really excited to see them on the board.
So for me, I'm very aware of the Lemonheads. And when I say that, I mean, I know the name. And I know the one cover, obviously. Like that's the one thing I knew for sure going in. Come to find out, there was a couple other songs that I was aware of, just was never able to put that together. One thing I'll say is, you expect the one song. So we did Goo Goo Dolls last year, and while this is almost the opposite. I went into the Goo Goo Dolls trying to prove that they weren't Iris. They weren't this song. And so like when I come into Lemonheads, and we'll get into this, when we start doing song choices, like I had a similar approach, but a different angle on the approach. So as you, I believe, put together the master list for this, right, John? Like,
yeah, Gavin and I worked it out together a little bit.
That's right. You're right. So, walk me through what it was like putting 20 together for this.
Not too bad. I kind of had like, because I remember I was like, kind of 16, 17, 18 years old when they were on the radio all the time, and I was listening to the alternative station here in Atlanta all the time and hearing these songs, and these kind of songs are kind of stuck in my head from those days. So I probably had 10 or 12 that were like, oh yeah, I love these songs. Like these are definitely going to be on my list. And then it was a matter of digging into like, cause they kind of have these kind of weird mid albums. Like you talk about Lovey and Creator and Lick, and you're like, they were already kind of outgrown the punk thing by then, but they hadn't quite become like what they would be with It's a Shame About Ray and the stuff that came after. So um, it was just a matter of going through those records and picking out stuff that I thought was important to their kind of evolution, and just finding some of the deep cuts in there that I really liked.
So, second time around, Gavin, what was your song choice like?
Yeah. So I have a really close old friend named Melanie who is a huge Lemonheads fan, and we go back with the Lemonheads to 1987
Wow.
together. And so we did kind of a little deprogrammed episode before we even got here. I just kind of hashed out my list with her, like maybe a before the fact show, and it was really fun. And it wasn't so bad. I was really interested in how our lists meshed together, and so I did some pre-work, and it was great.
So as I mentioned before, like I kind of was looking at this like a Goo Goo Dolls situation. Like I was trying to figure out what the band was. And so like with the Goo Goo Dolls, I wanted people to forget Iris and prove that they were something more than that. And that, hey, by the way, they were this punk band. So with Lemonheads, I went in and like, you know, immediately kind of fell in love with this punk sound. I was like, yeah, but that's not what they are. And then like thinking that was going to be, it was going to be the same situation, but realizing kind of like you were saying, John, like, oh no, the best is yet to come. Like this is what Goo Goo Dolls should have done. Like this growth is like fantastic. Like the you get into this like sound wise, like I hate to pin it to a band, but just for anybody who hasn't given them the time of day yet, I liken it to like a Gin Blossoms. Like you mentioned like that. I mean, Gin Blossoms is lighter.
Around the same time.
Yeah.
But like this, and Gin Blossoms too, it goes back to like that 70s kind of power pop stuff like Big Star and the Raspberries and like Cheap Trick and like all that, this kind of like jangly, you know, guitars and stuff like Matthew Sweet around this time too. A lot of that stuff goes back to that early 70s kind of power pop stuff.
So I found myself in some deep trouble in the back end of their catalog.
Yeah.
I believe we were having a conversation at some point, and you know, you mentioned It's a Shame About Ray, and like, you know, I had heard that song and probably a couple others, and it just didn't click. I think I had almost that entire record after my first pass. And I want to say 36 was my number that I gave to you guys, but I think I may have done like a second pass before I gave you guys 36. But those last 16 cuts were pretty brutal. Because like I said, like do I just make it back heavy because that's what I enjoyed the most, or you know, do I even it out? So I think I accidentally ended up evening out the back half of the catalog. Again, not on purpose. It just kind of ended up that way. So we'll see how that plays out. But
I want to, before, if I can, I want to
Sure.
make sure we mention, I want to ask Gavin a question. How many times have you seen them live? Have you ever gotten to see them?
Yeah, I could have seen them a ton of times, and I should have seen them a lot of times. I actually only saw them once. My friends have seen them, you know, a ton of times.
Yeah.
And I saw them sort of in the later years, and it was a really mixed emotional experience for me. Yeah.
Interesting. Like I didn't get to see them in the 90s, but I did see them before the pandemic. I think it was 2019 or early. It had to have been 2019. They played. He was touring with Tommy Stinson as an opener, and he was strung out, man. Like this guy. I mean,
that same tour.
It came out. I think he has a very interesting Twitter account, Evan Dando does, but he revealed that like he was back in rehab because like he struggled with heroin addiction and like being in and out and like his whole life almost. Like
Whole
when,
career. Yep.
yeah, whole career. And I think now he's finally like I don't even follow him, but I would see people like Juliana Hatfield who was in the Lemonheads for a little while. People like
Yeah.
Ben Lee who wrote, I wish I was him about Evan Dando, and like you'd see
Yeah.
these people like, oh man, like I hope you're doing well, like hope you can get clean, and like he would just post these little things like, yeah man, I like went outside today and like sat under a tree and it was awesome, and everyone would be like, good job man, like you're doing it, like go for it, like yeah, enjoy life, because everyone's rooting for the guy because he's so talented, and like he's had this like he's an amazing songwriter, he's had this amazing career, and like how like he almost has thrown it away so many times, but people keep coming up to, but he's always like, and I'm sure Gavin, you know this, he's not the most successful person who has come out of the Lemonheads. We got to talk about Jesse Peretz as well,
Yeah.
who has gone on to like this amazing career in like music videos and television. Like he's directed The Office and like Girls and Orange Is the New Black. I was just watching, every time I see his name pop up on something, I'm like, oh, that's the guy from the Lemonheads. Like I think I was watching like Station 11 on HBO or something, and he
Yeah.
had like directed an episode, and I was like, that's the Lemonheads
Oh,
guy. Like he's still out there doing it. So that's kind of a cool thing. I always like it. Always kind of jogs my memory. Oh, the Lemonheads, that's the guy. I think he didn't make it through their like the real '90s popular years, but he was in it back in the '80s.
yeah. Um, yeah, I guess Dando, his drug use is crazy. I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind of what people talk about a lot, and what's in his stamina. It's very rare that you have someone that has been on hard drugs for so long
he's
and
like Keith
continue.
Richards or something. Like he's just gonna live forever.
I think I mean, he even beats Keith Richards,
Yeah,
in,
yeah,
in the years of his drug use, and
Whew.
continuing to put out records while
Right,
he's
right.
been on hard drugs, and really not that interested, um, in the press, at least, about changing. He's so well. It's very rare that you have someone that's so transparent. Like he'll talk about his drug use. He's just kind of like open about it, and he's kind of like, "Yeah, I really love it. I love doing drugs," and like he's just continued to do. I mean, I'm guessing like from what I can piece together, pretty like crack and heroin and really hard drugs for many years. And when you see him now, you can see the damage,
Oh yeah.
and it's a little bit like Nico, where you have someone that was so beautiful that has just sort of like maybe even consciously sort of like destroyed their beauty
Hmm.
as like an art statement or something. Um, and so seeing him on that tour you were talking about, or a tour right around that time, was really emotional. As a fan, like you're seeing the wreckage and just also the talent that's still there, and you think about what could have been, and like you're feeling the song, so you're super elated and joyful, and you're also feeling like super sad at the same time. I was messed up for like a week after seeing them, but
Yeah, like with these songs, they should be playing stadiums. Like, yeah, it just it, and like we should say like we kind of cut this off at Car Button Cloth, but they reunited in the 2000s and did another record. They've done a couple of covers albums.
yeah,
He's had a solo career, a couple of really good solo albums.
yeah,
So all that stuff is out there.
yeah.
All right. Well, look, I am a nut for this kind of extra information. So thank you guys for bringing that. But based on the conversation we just had, we got to find out who will have the final
Oh,
say today. John, how many do you think we're going to get through unanimously?
ooh, I'm gonna say five.
Five. Okay, that
I'm right in
sounds
the middle. I went way above with Casper Baby Hands, and that blew up in my face. So I'm gonna stick to right in the middle and say five.
all right. Gavin,
I'm gonna say six.
six. Okay. Golly, this is. I always have to go last, and I never know which way to go with it. Ugh,
Shoot the
five.
moon.
Yeah, five seems like the money move. Uh, I'm gonna. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna take your advice, Gavin. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna two up you. I'm gonna go eight.
Ooh, I like it. I like
Awesome.
it. Be bold.
I'm going to be bold. I'm going to figure out. And just as a reminder, and to anybody who's here for the first time, the final say, you have to hit the number on the head, and you get to choose the 10th and final song of our list today. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back with some gameplay. It's Deprogrammed. Kickstart your road to fitness with the Hard Work Works fitness app. For all ability levels, full gym, no problem. What's included? Over 200 workout plans available for every situation, from a full gym to no equipment at all. Nutrition guide to help you stay on track, and all of this is only $10 a month. There's a special offer for Deprogram listeners. Use promo code STUPID and get your first month free. The Hard Work Works fitness app. Decide, commit, succeed, and join the hustle today. And with that, the name of the game is Deprogrammed. The three of us have combed through a selection of the Lemonheads discography and plucked out 20 songs that we're now going to match together in an attempt to create a top 10 starter kit for you, in case you have never given the Lemonheads the time of day. This is the second straight episode where I have to fight against my typical instinct of song one, track one type stuff. Because, like I said, I kind of fell in love with a lot of the later stuff. So I don't know that this is necessarily a home run, but I definitely fell in love with this song. It's a Shame About Ray.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey.
I think that was the one they performed on Regis and Kathy Lee.
All right. Yes. Let me get this queued up. Oh, come on, phone. Do what you're supposed to do. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer, but that is right in the sweet spot.
Yeah, it's a great song.
I
didn't appreciate it at the time, and I really love it now.
Yeah, you know what? And like I said, I think that's what it is. Like, it didn't hit the mark at the time for me. I know I've heard it.
It did for me. I love this song. I used to play it on the radio all the time.
I think that's also part of it, is I don't think it got a ton of play here.
Yeah.
So, like, I heard it enough. It's that part that does it for me, by the way. The
harmonies, too. Really good harmonies on this one.
But yeah. I think it got play enough for me to recognize the song, but not enough to make me to stick the landing. And I think obviously the one that you hear more is the cover. So that's always what I think of when I think of this band. So, all right, one down. John?
All right, I'm also going to go against my usual gameplay since you set the tone there. And let's just get all the elephants in the room out of the way. Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah, I do have Mrs. Robinson.
Okay. I don't. And again, this is calculated risk. I do think it's a terrific song. I think it's a terrific cover. I think it absolutely belongs. I honestly withheld my vote just because I don't think it's a unanimous decision. And I had a feeling that the both of you would have it. Like, I know that's strange gameplay, but that was gameplay. I have no problem with
it. A lot of times that backfires, but this time it paid off. So
yeah. You never know. But like, I think it's a terrific tune. It was a very, very late cut for me, which is shocking because, again, I thought that I was going to be fighting against that song, and no, I think it's terrific. I think it's a great cover.
Yeah, that's all. I agree with all that, Justin. I think there's a lot of like kind of deep or serious Lemonheads fans that dismiss that song because it sort of catapulted them on radio in the States, and I can see that. Like, it definitely was a conversation in my head, but they do such a great job on that song, and the drums are so fantastic. It just gallops through the street. And I think it deserves to be on the list.
And wasn't their cover in Wayne's World Like that scene in Wayne's World where he's trying to get out to the wedding, or was that Wayne's World 2? Maybe it was Wayne's World 2.
Not sure.
Yeah, regardless. Yeah, so it's not dead, and that's, as Curtis would say, knock me over with a feather. That's, I won't fight it. I couldn't give my unanimous vote to it. So, all right, Gavin.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with another just kind of really strong one out the gate, I think. Did you guys have Allison Starting to Happen?
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Hey.
That's off Ray, too. That's about, his sister sort of home is Australia. I mean, it has a big relationship with Australia, and there was a band called Smudge who
Ben Lee again, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And they had a girl in the band named Alison Galloway, and I think that song's about her. But that's such a great song, right? It's like everybody can relate to that sort of. Like
Allison's getting a mohawk. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody sort of finding themselves when you're kids, in front of you and really blossoming into their own person, and just being kind of like you weren't really seeing them before, and then they sort of start to appear before your eyes, and you're really blown away by them. And it's just a really cute, beautiful, rocking song with some great lyrics and some great turns of phrase, right? Which he's really good at. This world is topsy-turvy and need his mind to eat, stuff like that.
That hook reminds me of Elvis Costello, like, and just,
yes,
and like there's the simplicity of Allison Starting to Happen, but the way it picks up the pace when it happens. Like I was listening in the car, and like I was like, okay, I dig this, I like this, and then suddenly Allison Starting to Happen. I was like, oh, okay, and then it repeats that, but like sometimes that's all you need, and if it's done well, I'm into it, and this was precisely that. So
yeah, I love that you said Costello. I think that Paul Westerberg from the Replacements, and Elvis Costello turn phrases. Dando's right, can do that as well. Yeah.
All right. So a lot of those felt like, the ones. The rest of my list, who knows? I found myself really drawn to this one after my second pass. So I'm curious if I can find anybody else on this one. The Great Big No.
Yeah, I love that song.
That was number 21. Alaska. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it gets 2. It's still alive. It ain't dead. But all right, that means I was on to something here. Okay, I'm with it. All right, John.
All right, I'm gonna be the one to go back to the beginning. Let's do Glad I Don't Know.
Yes.
I don't have it.
All right. John and Justin. All right, Gavin.
I'm gonna stick with the Ray album and throw out Confetti. Do you guys have Confetti?
Nope.
That is my favorite Lemonhead song. Yes.
Oh, really?
That's so awesome. Yeah.
It's stuck in my head all the time.
He says, I kind of should have, sort of, would have loved her if I could have, which is so Evan, like how he does that slacker.
Yep. The 90s take on that. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And just in there is like, if we were 3 therapists talking about him, like attachment disorder and relationship issues, right? Like just can't do it. I love that song.
All right, it's got 2, so it's still around. Man. Let's go. How about Into Your Arms?
Yeah, I have Into Your Arms.
Of course.
Oh. Okay.
So if I can nerd out on that for a minute.
Absolutely.
So what's funny about Into Your Arms? So Lemonheads, one thing that's exceptional about them is that they did so many covers, and also were such great songwriters. And they have so many covers that a lot of times you don't even know when a song you love by them is a cover. So Into Your Arms is a cover.
Interesting.
By another Australian indie band called Love Positions, who put it out in 1990. And that was their biggest, that was actually their biggest success. That was number one on the Billboard Modern Rock charts for 9 weeks straight. It's like a huge, it's by far, it blows away anything else they did in terms of chart success. And it's a great song.
Wow. Coming through with the knowledge.
Yeah, another one that got played on the radio all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember this one. But there was a familiarity to it. Like there was, I know I haven't heard it. Unless maybe it was like in passing, but there was like this warm familiarity to it that stuck out like immediately to me. So, all right, John.
All right, I'm gonna pick another one that kind of we talked about his kind of confessional songwriting a little bit. How about The Outdoor Type?
I don't have it.
Nope, me neither.
All right,
It was bound to happen. It was bound to happen. The Outdoor Type. This is another one of those bands where like you keep waiting for the shoe to drop towards the end of the discography, or at least what we covered, and it just never did. All right, Gavin.
So I'm going to go to the record after Shame About Ray, which is probably my favorite, Come On Feel from 93. Do you guys have Down About It?
Oh, no.
of course I have Down About It.
Good. I have a feeling that must have been like somewhere in the 25 range, because the second you said it, I felt heartbreak. So,
Classic.
all right.
Yeah.
So it's still alive. That's good. All right. Let's go a little further up. How about If I Could Talk, I'd Tell You?
I don't have it. That's a great song.
I have it.
Hey. All right. Man, we're blasting through. We're going to be out of NTP here soon if we aren't already. Just barely, just barely under it. All right, John?
All right, let's throw one of these off the wall ones out. How about Ever?
Oh, that's a great song. Is that a Ben song?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't have it. I love that song though.
Nor do I, sir. Nor do I. I can't
That's
save
one of the
you.
early punk songs. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't save you. I didn't know what to do with their punk. I definitely have a bunch of the punk songs. I just didn't know what to do with them because
Yeah.
I fell in love with the later stuff.
Actually have their first record, that Laughing All the Way to the Cleaners. Found it when I was in college at a record store and grabbed it for pretty cheap, and it's worth a pretty good amount of money right now.
Yeah.
But
That's
it's a cool thing to have. Yeah.
Yeah. Those
They look
four
so
songs
young.
are-
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Gavin.
Well, I'm going to pick my favorite cover by them, off Ray, off Shame About Ray. Do you guys have Frank Mills?
I do not.
Ooh, no.
I think I said this in the build of my list. At one point or another, I was considering everything from that record. So,
Yeah. Frank Mills is from the Hair soundtrack, the 60s musical. Yeah.
that's
It's so
interesting.
great.
That's crazy.
It's such a weird pick. I mean, I think if you're going to be a cover band, like conventional wisdom is that like you have to do a super unique version.
Yes.
But also the other route is that you just pick like really great songs to cover. And that was just a genius pick by him. It just fit that band so well. And yeah, it's an amazing song.
All right. Bum, 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 bum. Let me try out some of the punk stuff that I got. How about Sunday?
I don't have it.
No.
Yeah, I have a feeling that that's going to be a lot of the where we miss. I ain't heard about it, so it's okay. Well, that's funny. I guess what I meant to say was early stuff, not punk stuff.
That's the transitional era a little bit.
Yeah.
Which tells you why I picked it, because it does. You can clearly hear the transition happening there.
Yeah.
All right, John.
All right. We've talked a lot about covers. How about the other elephant in the room? Let's go with Luca.
Yeah, absolutely.
No. I think I think it's terrific. I didn't realize that they covered that, and then like it shows up. I'm like, wait a second, that song didn't that come out like right around then?
Suzanne Vega.
Yeah. I mean, I think that one fell victim to like blatantly knowing it was a cover, which sometimes isn't a great play. But I think that's what I did there. I mean, there's a lot of great songs, so
I think, I mean, at least in my memory, that's the song. I don't know if you remember this, John. That's the song that put them on the map.
Oh, absolutely.
At college radio. It was such a great cover, and they just shredded and also it has such a heart. Like it took that song and put it in a new environment, and you kind of heard it in a new way.
Wasn't there a video too? Like that got some like MTV play a little bit. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I remember that.
All right, Gavin.
Well, so I'm gonna pick something off Lovey. I mean, I think so. Justin, you've been really astute in talking about, like, you recognized right away that they have such distinct chapters to this band. And I think that their fans can divide up those chapters in different ways. For me, the chapters would be the 4 chapters of the Lemonheads would be the first record stands on its own. Hate Your Friends is like a fantastic punk album. This is not how a lot of people divide up the chapters. Then I would put the next 3 records together, Creator, Lick, and Lovey, even though there's transitions in that period, as just sort of like a mess. Those 3 records are a mess, and they're trying to find their way. And then there's like that golden era where he emerges as like this quirky songwriter, and It's a Shame About Ray and Come On Feel in 92 and 93, which both went gold. That was where they experienced success in both the UK and America. And then there's Car Button Cloth and Everything After, which for me I define as the chapter where drugs overtook his talent. And so, so this is my first song I'm picking from that messy period, I think. So there's a song off Lovey, the first song, I think, called Half the Time.
I got it.
That was another late cut.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the song where I think, John, like that's where it sounds like the Evan that you're going to hear on Ray and Come On Feel. Like It's got that chiming guitar, and like he's starting to write that kind of song in the midst of like kind of very alt 90s, like, I don't know, whatever, Dinosaur Jr. or Husker Du
Sure.
sounding record.
Sure.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's the story of these punk bands, and like you kind of outgrow it, right? Like they kind of outgrew that, and it's like he was probably listening to all this Big Star and like all this stuff. Is like, man, like I'm writing all these songs that don't sound like us, but
Yeah.
it's me, and like it happens over and over and over again throughout history. Like all these bands that like decide they have this, like there's this one like kind of seismic moment like distilled into this one song that like changes their whole trajectory, and
Totally.
it's kind of that song, and I didn't have it, so I'm kind of kind of telling the story, and I kind of feel like a little hypocrite for not having it, but that is a very like formational, like influential song for them, absolutely.
Right on.
So just
Push me over with a feather.
yeah, right. So just as a recap, we have 3 all the way through, and fellas, we have officially a conversation because there are 8 in the conversation, so that we are going to at least have to cut one song with a good amount of gameplay left here. So, where do I go? Let me go late again. How about It's All True?
I don't have it. That's a great song.
No.
Off on my own in that one. Yeah, it's bound to happen. It's all true. Let me type that. It's all.
A lot of people love that song, Justin. It's a big Lemonheads song.
So I was only alone in the panel.
Yeah, that's right.
Interesting. I couldn't get away from this. Oh, it's... Good Lord. It's like clean.
Yeah.
All right. It's all true. Into the bin you go. John.
All right. It's about time that we tried to hit on one again. So let's go. It's about time.
I don't have it.
Oh.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. It's like I thought I had it.
I think that's the Juliana Hatfield era again, and her voice and his voice together is just
really good.
There's something to that that's really, really magical, and the harmonies on that just perfect.
Yeah, she was playing bass too.
Yep.
All right, Gavin.
So this may be my favorite Lemonhead song.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I got a lot of favorite songs, but do you guys have "Hate Your Friends"?
Oh no.
I do.
Okay. I was listening to that like just before I got on the call, and I was like, oh man, did I just make... I was really not doing myself any favors listening to those punk records.
Yeah. "Hate Your Friends" is off the first record. The first record is called "Hate Your Friends." And it's just this fucking epic, rad punk song where he says, like, we got problems we can't solve. It's enough to make you stop and hate your friends. And in '87, when that came out, I was like a teenager staying up all night in small apartments with my friends with a lot of unprocessed issues, let's say.
Yeah.
And like that song, like we were listening to that when it came out, and that song was on heavy rotation. And there's something about it where he's saying like hate your friends, but he's really saying love your friends too. It's such a great song. Yeah.
All right. Let me dive into the middle of my list here. How about Ride With Me?
Hell yeah. I'm so glad you have that.
No.
Okay.
I love that song, Justin. That's a great song.
I'm wishing I would have went the other way instead of 8. Because it's looking like that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still gameplay. We could still hit John's 5 or Gavin's 6, but my 8 is, I mean, unless we get really hot here. All right, John?
All right. How about bit part? Just want a bit part in your life.
Oh man, I don't have Bit Part. I love that song. I'm not even sure why I don't have it now that you said it. That's a great song.
Yeah.
I don't either.
Uh,
Oh. Again, that record.
yep.
Painful cuts. So painful, in fact, I don't know when I cut this one. All right, Gavin?
So I'm going to go to Car Button Cloth, which was sort of what I was saying is the last chapter of the Lemonheads for me. You guys have Hospital?
No, I don't.
No.
I don't.
So that's a song where he's saying, like, there's a disease going around the hospital, green leaves falling from the trees. It's this totally weird song about, I don't know, existential dread and illness being everywhere, totally pre-pandemic, but it's just this kind of lovely little ill dark song.
I'm there with you, man. I ended up not having it. Sometimes you hear this. It's clean, it's pretty. Just didn't make it.
Yeah.
Okay. How about Rudderless?
Yeah.
No.
Oh no. Well,
I
I mean,
love Rudder. So great.
at least we are going to converse all the way to 10. I get the feeling. So that's okay.
I love that chorus of Rudderless, Justin, where he's saying "hope in my past."
Mm-hmm.
That is, it's a drug song, you know, and then at the end he's just repeating that mantra: "A ship without a rudder, it's like a ship without a rudder. It's like a ship without a rudder." It's like, what an incredible! It's just an incredible song. I love that song.
It's, yeah, there's two ways to look at it. Like, obviously a ship without a rudder, like, you know, it's just off on its own. But also looking at it as repeating, but like with intent, but also maybe not. You know, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. All right, John.
My drug buddy.
I don't have My Drug Buddy, and all my friends are going to kill me.
Oh.
It's a great song, and they love it.
I don't have it either.
Hey, John, I heard this really cool podcast about Ray. I think it's called The Album. I can't remember what it's called, but they're really good. And
The great albums?
yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
what
I've
it's
heard
called.
Yeah, I've heard it.
And they talked about My Drug Buddy, and they talked about how it's such a cool song because a lot of songs explore different relationships, but the drug buddy is a relationship that's not really like that fleshed out and explored, and it's a really complicated relationship.
Or it's usually hidden. It's usually like cryptic. You have to like, I'm sure there's a million of them in the 60s, but you can't come out and say that. Like,
Yes,
they have to hide it in something else. Like,
yeah.
but here it's just like, he's just like straight up like, hey, I love my drug buddy.
Yeah.
Totally, and like that's our relationship. Like that's what we do together, and we're having this day. I'm gonna walk you through our day. It's like really great.
All right, Gavin.
Did you guys have "I'll Do It Anyway" off "Come On Feel"?
No.
Nope.
That's the one with Belinda Carlisle from the Go-Go's on it. And I love the closing. He says, "I'm still a girl. It's just a horse, and I've got the reins." I love that song.
All right, I'm thinking maybe 2 more rounds and then we'll dump out. Seems like we're running out of steam here a little as far as finding each other. How about Something's Missing?
No, that's a great song.
No.
Maybe one round. Here we go. All right. John?
Fucked up.
Yeah, I got it.
I cut it at the last minute. I love Fucked Up. So
Oh.
good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
It's so funny. Go ahead, Justin.
I was just going to say, I'm not going to lie. Like, the title alone, we just did Fucked Up, made me go,
That's right.
hey.
Yep. Synergy.
Yeah.
It's so great when like Ben sings the first half and then Evan comes in like, and you can just picture him like stumbling, like crashing through a glass door or something. Like, so I fucked up. It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the drummer. So like, it's almost like, hey, fine, let the drummer sing.
Yeah.
All right. Gavin?
Did you guys have Rest Assured off Come On Feel?
No.
Nope. That must have been a late cut too, because I had to look over my list a couple times. All right, so this will be our official last round. How about Rock and Stroll?
Ooh, it's a good one, but no.
Good song. That's a track one opener.
Yeah.
I don't have.
This was the second I knew it was over for me.
Yeah.
Like I understand it not making it, but like to me this was like, oh, there's something different. Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it's so cool to open with that and then have so many other songs that are better than that on the record.
Yeah.
It's like the fastest one on the record.
Yeah. All right. John?
All right, I've got a couple left from that kind of transitional period. Let's go Mallow Cup.
I got it.
I don't have Mallow Cup. I love that song. It didn't make it.
All right. Ooh, this conversation's getting brutal. Gavin?
So I'm gonna pick the It's a Shame About Ray B-side. You guys have Shaky Ground?
No.
No, I don't.
That's another song about a complex relationship, like his friendship with a girl, and they're both in relationships, and that's kind of a tricky territory to navigate. And he keeps saying, like, are we on shaky ground here? And like, anyway, it's a great song.
Give it a sec. This is another band where you don't really have reasons. I mean, I will say I did have reasons for like at least two songs. So that's way better than usual. All right, I'm going to dump out here, and I've got
Yes. I can't believe you had that.
Yeah. All right.
John, do you know that? It's like UHHH on the first record.
Yep. I do not have it though.
Okay.
That song is like early emo, Justin. So good.
Yeah.
That's a Ben song. I'm glad we got a Ben song in there.
Die Right Now?
No.
No.
All right.
It's a great song.
Big Gay Heart.
No, I love that song.
No.
All right. And last but not least, 6.
No.
Nope.
Okay. Let me fill those in. All right. John?
I have Stove,
Great song. Don't have it.
Being Around.
Oh.
I love that song. If it wasn't for the booger line, I would totally have that.
And my last one's Come to the Window.
No, that's a good song too. I don't have that.
All right. And just for fun, you want to dump out, Gavin?
Yeah, the only one I have left is off Come On Feel. I have You Can Take It With You, and it may be my favorite or second favorite Lemonheads song.
All right. This
Wow.
is about to, so nobody hits the final say. We all way overshot. We got 3 through. We've got Allison Starting to Happen, Into Your Arms, It's a Shame About Ray. That right there is absolutely correct. So we got that right. This conversation, though, we've got 15 that we need to trim down to 7.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's start with you, John. Let me give a rundown here. We got Confetti, Down About It, Fucked Up, Glad I Don't Know, Half the Time, Hate Your Friends, If I Could Talk, I'd Tell You, It's About Time, Luca, Mallow Cup, Mrs. Robinson, Ride With Me, Rudderless, The Great Big No, and any of those sticking out at you as, okay, enough's enough, it needs to go in?
Yeah, I gotta fight for Confetti. That's my favorite one. It's like it was never a big hit song, but it's so catchy and like it has to be on this list, I think.
All right, you guys had it. I did not. I don't have a big reason as to why I didn't. I think just stuff had to get cut, so let's do it. Same question to you, Gavin.
Wow, that list went by really fast. So this is like what I want to fight for on that list.
Yeah, like something like you're putting your foot down, like something that you feel like, okay,
yeah,
cool.
I think Hate Your Friends has to be on the list.
Word.
It's the best punk song that they wrote, in my opinion, and they were a punk band, and so that's got to go on there.
I agree.
I'm with it. Again, that's one you guys had. I did not. Wait a second. Let me switch this to 2s. Switch it again. It's Z to A. There it is. Again, that one was definitely a late cut for me. So, all right. So that gets us up to 5. All right, let's go the other way now. Like a song that has made it this far that you feel like, okay, cool, it can go now, John.
Well, I'm looking at, we just put in Hate Your Friends. So I'm looking at and Glad I Don't Know and Fucked Up. And I'm thinking we can lose at least 2 of those, and probably Fucked Up and or the like Glad I Don't Know probably has a better shot to get in than those 2, I would think.
What do you think, Gavin?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right, so let's lose Fucked Up. Boom. And let's lose kind of made it in, like you were shocked. So I feel like that's a good call.
That's a personal favorite.
Z to A. All right. All right, so same question to you, Gavin. Is there one that's sitting there that you feel like we can probably, like, it really doesn't stand a chance of making the 10 at this point?
Can you buzz through that one
Sure,
more time?
absolutely. Down About It. We're going to keep Glad I Don't Know for now. Half the Time. If I Could Talk, I'd Tell You. It's About Time. Luca. Mallow Cup. Mrs. Robinson. Ride With Me. Rudderless. The Great Big No.
I'd cut It's About Time, I guess, from that list.
Okay.
It's a little...
Oh, that's tough, but like we have Into Your Arms, we have It's a Shame About Ray, we have stuff that sounds like that, so I guess I can live with it.
Thanks.
All right, let's do that. All right. One last go through this list, and okay, cool. Yeah, this is right where we need to be. So there's 5 through, and I'm going to read these just so we know what we're building from. Allison's Starting to Happen, Confetti, Into Your Arms, It's a Shame About Ray, and Hate Your Friends are in. These 10 need to be trimmed down to 5. Down About It, Glad I Don't Know, Half the Time, If I Could Talk, I'd Tell You, Luca, Mallow Cup, Mrs. Robinson, Ride With Me, Rudderless, The Great Big No. Anything jumping out at you, John?
I'm looking so we've got 10 and we need to get to 5, so I'm looking at like pairs and like how can I what sticks out to me as a pair that like one gets in and one doesn't. And it's obviously it's Mrs. Robinson and Luca. Like
Right.
Both of those probably don't need to get in, but one of them probably should.
I agree.
If under that argument, and based on the theme of the show, like I think that most people would have had the chance to have heard Mrs. Robinson over Luca, so I would pick Luca
Mm,
I could go either way. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that argument.
I think I agree with you, Gavin. I I liked Mrs. Robinson better, and I came around on that song here doing this, but I think Luca fits what the show is better than Mrs. Robinson. So,
Nice.
if there's no objections, let's put it through. 3 and lose Mrs. Robinson. That's, if I had to guess, if I was a betting man, I wouldn't have seen that one coming. All right. Was there another pair that you were looking at, John, or is that the only one?
Yeah, a couple. It's so I'm looking at Half the Time and Mallow Cup. We kind of talked about
Yeah,
those. And
that's right.
I think Half the Time probably should be on the list more than Mallow Cup, I think.
That's a good move.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Let's lose.
And I was the one who didn't have that one, so
All right. So let's grab
I think I can go with it.
grab Half the Time, lose Mallow Cup. All right. And if there's anybody listening who wants to start taking deprogrammed stats, please be my guest. I think that's a little something we can get into and after the fact. All right, so we're at 7. We've got 6 that we need to trim down to 3. Gavin, is there something sticking out at you?
Do we have anything off? Oh, off Lovey. We have Lucas off Lovey, right?
Yes, I think so.
No. Sorry, Half the Time is off Lovey.
Half the time.
Right, that's right. I don't know. Like Rudderless is so great, but we got a lot of stuff off Ray, right?
We've got 3 off Ray.
Yeah.
So I guess
Do we have
that,
anything off Come on, Feel?
let's see. We got Into Your Arms. So we just got the 1 and there's 2 still alive.
So Down About It would be off Feel.
Mm-hmm.
The Great Big
Yeah.
No would be off Feel. The Great Big No. I mean, John, if you want to pick a Feel song, that would be cool.
Yeah, going back to the pairs thing, I mean, Down About It and Great Big No, I think probably Down About It is one that I go back to more. So maybe that gets the nod over Great Big No, unless someone
good.
wants to argue.
No, I think that's good.
Yeah, that hurts, but yes, I agree. Down About It. Let me go. There you are. All right.
And I think you're looking at Glad I Don't Know versus Ride With Me, maybe. And If I Could Talk, I'd Tell You versus Rudderless. Or Gavin, you can probably pair those up better. And like we have Hate Your Friends, but do we need 2 of the punk songs? If we do, then Glad I Don't Know. I mean, that was like that goes back to the very, very beginning.
Yeah.
Well, so let me ask this. Let me pose this question, because I know we didn't pick everything from their discography, but we do still have representation from Car Button Cloth left, but nothing made it. Do we think something from that should be in?
Is there anything left from Car Button Cloth?
If I Could Talk, I'd Tell You. That's
Which is a great song.
Fine. I'm fine with that. That sounds good.
All right, so let's get that, and then that brings us down to our.
So we're doing If I Could Talk and Glad I Don't Know and call it a day.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Let's do that. 4. All right.
That works for me.
Let me make sure. Yep, we got 10. All right, here they are. Allison's starting to. I am not looking forward to this. Allison's starting to happen. Confetti, Into Your Arms, It's a Shame About Ray, Hate Your Friends, Luca, Half the Time, Down About It, Glad I Don't Know, If I Could Talk, I'd Tell You. That's our 10. Now, John, crank up the heat. Which one of those 10 is the one?
That's a sick list.
Yeah. And I'm looking at this, thinking about trying to think forward to next year's best of, and thinking about what we're going to be up against.
Yeah.
And I still got to say Confetti, even though it's a shame about Ray and Into Your Arms and Allison starting to happen, like those were unanimous, but Confetti for me is just so infectious and so good. I don't see how anybody could not like it.
What are you thinking, Gavin?
Yeah, I mean, I had Allison and Ray, right? I mean, it's a shame about Ray. It's like the obvious choice. But I think that Allison is kind of a stronger choice. But that's interesting. I would go with Confetti. I think that's a radical move.
Let me. Oh, come on. Stupid phone. There we go. Golly, that's yummy.
And that's the verse. Like,
yeah.
Right.
Cool.
This part.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the Lemonheads.
I was going to make a case for Allison, but I feel like
I go that way too. I love that song so much.
But I think this does. I think this does the intent. Like I think this has the intent.
It's going to be one of the catchiest songs of the whole year.
Probably. Let's see. So number one, unless anybody contests, there we go. All right.
I would not have guessed that was going to happen.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Usually playing the songs doesn't help. This time it did indeed. So, Confetti is our number one with a bullet. I need to figure out a new phrasing for that. But Allison's Starting to Happen, Into Your Arms, It's a Shame About Ray, Hate Your Friends, Luca, Half the Time, Down About It, Glad I Don't Know, If I Could Talk, I'd Tell You, rounds out our 10. Let's let Confetti get some time in the sun.
Nice.
There you have it. Look, what I want to say to you is both panelists today are people that started off listening to the program and said, I'd very much like to come play. So what I'm saying to you is you can go to legionofstupid.com, click podcasts at the top, click deprogrammed, and scroll down just a little bit. There's a list. Find a band that you want to talk about. Come play. I promise you it'll be a fun time. It's a pretty, I mean, you know, sometimes there's some ball breaking, but for the most part, it's a very easy environment and everybody gets along. And I think you'll enjoy it if you come play. That's all I'm saying. But while you're at legionofstupid.com, you can listen to the rest of our discography, the rest of our catalog. You can hear every episode of Deprogrammed if you like. And you can find these gentlemen. They have their own pages. If you'd like to listen to John F. episodes, you can find it. If you'd like to listen to Gavin episodes, you can find it. It's all there. If you want to listen to Justin episodes, I'm on all of them. I hope you don't hate me, because that would be tough. You can also listen to us on all podcast platforms. Subscribe, rate, comment. They say that helps. I have no idea if it actually does. But I also do know that you can give us a 5-star rating on Spotify now. That would be very cool if you did that. Also be on the lookout. I'm working on some video content ideas. I don't know how long it's going to take for that to happen, but be on the lookout, because if that happens, it will be coming to the Spotify. So you may want to subscribe there. What else? Patreon.com/oh hi Justin. Would love for you to consider pledging to the Patreon, because it helps me buy equipment. It helps me upkeep equipment. It helps pay some bills. It's very appreciative, I'm very appreciative. It's very appreciated is what I was trying to say. And you can get all sorts of great audio content, including the After the Fact that we're about to do. We're going to talk even more. You can hear us, whatever the hell we're going to talk about. Who knows? It could be anything. So that'll happen, and then you'll get deprogrammed before the rest of the world. All sorts of great audio content and access to the Discord, and it's a great place to be on the stand, if you will. With that being said, the Lemonheads, learn them and love them, people. We'll see you next week. Bye.